Hello again. Hello, dear friends. My name is Clive Thompson. I've been investing money for 50 years. I've learned a lot of techniques about how to beat the benchmark, how to beat the experts at stock picking. I've also made a lot of mistakes. I still make mistakes, but I don't make quite as many as I used to. The purpose of these videos is to teach you about buying stocks, about how to choose the best ones, about how to avoid making mistakes, and I hope that you can learn from me. Tonight we're going to look at artificial intelligence and how it can help in stock picking. And I hope to come away with at least 10 stocks, maybe more, that have been selected by artificial intelligence using one of my stock picking methodologies. It's quite a complex one. So when I give the instruction to artificial intelligence, it's going to be a very long instruction. Now, let's talk about how you can start. First of all, you've got to get your prompt right to the AI. And there's many AI models out there, but they all work in a similar way when it comes to prompts. A prompt is the instruction you give to the artificial intelligence. Now, the way I usually work, I start by dictating to a note exactly what I want, and then I take my dictation and run it through ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, this is what I want to do, an instruction I want to give to artificial intelligence, but would you please improve my prompt? And ChatGPT will come back and give me a much better prompt. So I've already done that, and if we look now at the prompt here, you'll see when I move over to it how it looks. So this is a prompt. It's a prompt for a comprehensive global equity screen with verified real data output. So I start off by describing to the AI model who he is, and you are a professional investment analyst. I say what he's going to have to do. Your task is to identify 10 top-tier global stocks from different countries and industries using real, up-to-date financial data, strict quantitative filters, performance ranking, and a qualitative review. And we'll see what I mean by all of that in a minute. I also put some context around what he's going to do. Your audience is a sophisticated investor. That's obviously me. I've asked it not to ask me any stupid questions, because often when you use AI and it's a long and complicated prompt, the AI comes back and starts to ask you questions. I think we can do without that. And I want it to proceed autonomously and deliver the final result. And again, I'm specifying what I want the result to look like. I want the result to be in an Excel spreadsheet with all the required data and the insights. Next, I'm instructing it which countries to look at. So I'm only looking at companies headquartered in North America, Europe, including the UK and Scandinavia, South Africa, Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Australasia, and Switzerland. Now, we get on to one of my specific techniques. One of my techniques is to produce multiple lists of stocks based on one of the criteria which some people think is important. Of course, different analysts, different experts think different criteria are important. Some look for value stocks, some look for growth stocks, some look for momentum stocks, some look for a growth at a reasonable price, some look for companies with no debt. All of these are valid ways of approaching investments, and I'm going to look at many of them. So I'm asking the artificial intelligence to produce some lists. So all these lists are for companies which are worth $10 billion or more in their respective country. So the first list is for a list of companies whose price earnings ratio is less than 25 and whose sales forecast growth is greater than 5% a year for the next 3 years. That's list one. List two is going to be for companies who've got a earnings per share growth forecast greater than 25% a year for the next 3 years. That's a pretty tough forecast to achieve. And who've got no debt. Debt to equity ratio 0. List 3 is companies which are priced relatively cheaply towards their sales, so price to sales ratio less than 4 times, and only companies where insiders are showing net buying. In other words, I want 70% of the insider transactions at least to be buys. The next list is a list of dividend stocks. I want the dividend yield greater than 4% and a price to book ratio of less than 1 times. So basically those are cheap stocks, value stocks if you like. And the next list is going to be PEG ratio less than 2. PEG is price earnings growth. So when you divide the price earnings ratio by the growth, the number should be less than 2. The lower the better, of course. And I want the profit margin to be greater than 20%. These are companies which have got a large profit margin. They're not wafer thin in terms of profits, and so on. So altogether, I'm producing 7 lists, with each list with 2 or 3 criteria which must be met. And I'll end up with 7 lists of stocks which are going to be called all stocks. So when I combine them. So I combine the 7 lists into all stocks. So then I might have 220 companies across the 7 lists, but when I combine them, it might only come down to perhaps 100 stocks. Next, taking that list of 100 stocks or whatever it will be, I'm asking it to rank the stocks by share price performance since the 1st of January and take the top 15 and put them into shortlist A. And then I'm going to ask it to take the best performance since the 1st of April. Might be the same companies, might not. And take the top 15 of those and put them into shortlist B. And then I'll merge those 2 shortlists and remove any duplicates. And lastly, I'm asking the AI to sort that shortlist, which might not be 30 stocks, it might be 15, 20 stocks now, because there's lots of duplicates. Ask it to sort that shortlist according to the sales growth forecast for the next 12 months. So highest first. Lastly, from that shortlist, I want to take the 10 companies, or find 10 companies as close to the top of the list as I can, which are unique by country and unique by industry. So I shouldn't have 2 countries the same, and I shouldn't have 2 industries the same. And I'll call that the final list. So I should end up with 10 stocks. Now, a few instructions to the AI to make sure that it's only using reputable sources for its data, like Yahoo Finance, MarketWatch, Morningstar, company filings, Bloomberg, and so on. All the prices, the ratios, performance metrics, and volumes must come from the real market data. I don't want it making up stuff. I don't want it hallucinating. I don't want it imagining. I don't want it using hypothetical data or presumed data. I want real data. So now I'm going to define how I want the Excel spreadsheet to look. And I've given it each column. I want the information I want in each column. Right through to column AD, final actual instructions. Well, first of all, I wanted to complete all steps without asking me any damnful questions. I specified don't use placeholder, estimated, or illustrative values. I want real prices, real value, real data. Label the sources of your data so I can see where you get it from, AI, and make sure it's formatted professionally. And I want the output as a downloadable Excel file ready for review and action. I'm now going to put that instruction into the various AIs. So let's just look at what we've got available as AIs here. So I've got, just go through them. I'm going to try Google Gemini. I'm going to try Perplexity. I'm going to try DeepSeek. I'm going to try Claude. Doesn't say which Claude it is. Claude Sonnet 4. Yes, Claude Sonnet 4. I'm going to try Manus AI. And by the way, I've tried this before in Manus AI. I'm going to try Grok. I'm going to try ChatGPT. And I'm going to try it in Microsoft Copilot. I might also try it in a number of other AIs to see how it gets on with any others I find. So let's just start pasting the code. So to do that, I go back to the notes which I've written in Notepad. This has actually been drafted by ChatGPT. Here we are. And I'll just do Command A to highlight the whole lot. And then all I have to do is write copy, and then I can go up to the AI model and simply paste in the text and it will start work. So here, what's this one? This is Perplexity. And yes, it looks like it's finding some stocks already. Let's see how DeepSeek's getting on. DeepSeek is asking me a question despite... Note, since I don't have API access to financial data sources, I'll need to describe how this would be executed with real data. In practice, this would involve pulling current financials from Bloomberg Terminal, Yahoo Finance API. Well, thank you, DeepSeek. It looks like you're not going to give me an answer. And then it says, for demonstration purposes, I'll outline the process and give you a sample spreadsheet. Okay, so DeepSeek, we're not interested in you. Let's see how Claude AI is getting on. Etc. requires premium financial data services which aren't freely accessible. What I can provide instead, I can provide a framework Excel sheet with the exact structure required and demonstrate the methodology using public available data for a smaller sample of well-known companies. So goodbye, Claude. That's no use to me. Next, we're looking at Manus. Manus seems to be working away. Manus is working away. Let's have a look at Grok. Does Grok say they've given me real information, or do I delete it? Due to the limitations of this text-based response format and the inability to generate or attach a downloadable Excel file directly, I'm unable to fully comply with the request to deliver a complete Excel SX file with real verified financial data for 10 top-tier global stocks. So I'll skip that. That was goodbye Grok. And now let's have a look at ChatGPT. ChatGPT basically says, I can't deliver on this request. That's a bit blunt, no excuse, no reason. Let's get rid of ChatGPT if you can't do that. Microsoft Copilot. Thank you for your patience. I'll notify you as soon as the file is ready. Stay tuned. Let's go back to Google Gemini. Okay, so it's working hard. And now we go to Perplexity. What's that say? So anyway, we're getting there. I see another question has arisen. That question has arisen on Google Gemini. It's not a question. They're basically saying, I will now try to refine some of the missing or ambiguous data points. Specifically, I need to confirm the forward P, precise sales growth forecast, profit margin, and price to free cash flow. The average daily volume also seems inconsistent across sources. Well, at least it sounds like it's checking the data for me. So, as promised, we're going to look at the results here from one or two of these. First of all, what's come up as a result? Perplexity's come up with a list of stocks. Let's see which ones it has chosen. I won't immediately download this. Palantir Technologies, Xiaomi Corporation, BYD Company. Xiaomi, as you know, is consumer electronics. BYD is the electronic motor car company. 95% of their sales are in China, and they've got quite a lot of capital growth and modest P. Then they've chosen Enbridge in Canada, energy infrastructure. Commonwealth Bank of Australia in Australia, which is a large Australian bank. A Spanish company called Industria de Diseño. I probably pronounced that wrong. Consumer discretionary, it says. Then the Sony Group in Japan, Bristol Myers Squibb in the United States in the pharma sector, Devon Energy Corp in energy in the United States, and Verizon Communications. Okay, those are the choices from Perplexity. Let's just see if Google Gemini has come up with an answer. That seems to have stalled. And let's look if Microsoft Copilot is coming up with an answer. That seems to have stalled as well. Says thanks for your patience and not giving me anything more. And yes, we now have an answer from Manus. So let's come out of that and we'll go and have a look at the answers. Let's go. I've uploaded it to a spreadsheet. Let me pause for a second. Okay, so the AI has completed its task. We're going to have a look at those companies in a second. So first of all, just go back to the AI page. Here we are. That's the finished result from Manus AI. And I've taken that information and put it into a spreadsheet. Here's the spreadsheet. Oh dear, it's very small, isn't it? I don't think you can see that. Let me just adjust the size of that a little bit to make it more visible. That should be, let's make it even smaller. That should be more visible now. So as you can see, we've got the names of the companies. I'll read them out to you in case you're not watching. It's NVIDIA from the United States. They're obviously the makers of the chips used in artificial intelligence. Then we've got a Dutch company, which I've never heard of, called Adyen, which is in Adyen NV, which is in financial services. And if I scroll across, I can see it's got 22,500 employees. So it's not a small company. And it says strong revenue growth, 35% annually, conservative balance sheet with low debt levels. Key risk is standard market risks. Solid market performance reflecting business strength. And it's got growing AI adoption for fraud detection, risk management, and customer service automation, expecting to improve operational efficiency and customer experience. Okay, that's Adyen. Then it's got Shopify Inc. That's where everybody puts up their shopping sites on the internet. It's well known. It's a Canadian company. ASML in Amsterdam. That's a company which makes microchips and things like that, or semiconductors, I'm not sure. It says technology, but well known. Taiwan Semiconductor, another technology company. Then we've got BHP Group, which is the minerals group. They're mining copper, iron ore all around the world. Then we've got LVMH, that's Louis Vuitton, Moët Hennessy, a luxury goods company. Then we've got SAP SE, which is a German software company and technology company. It's a very large company. And then we've got Naspers Inc., Naspers Limited rather, on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Now they happen to own a large stake in Tencent, which is a very fast-growing Chinese company. There's another way to buy into the same, its sister company. It's called Process NV in the Netherlands. They also own a very large stake in Tencent. And then we've got Alibaba in China, which is a sort of retail sales company to the rest of the world. And on each of these companies, we've got all the metrics, including some positives and negatives. I won't read them out because it'll take forever. But I'll scroll through the positives and negatives a little bit, just if anyone wants to freeze their screen, they can see what they are. And these companies are all rated buy or strong buy by the artificial intelligence. So that would be a good step for what's produced for me is 10 companies. I'm going to run the exercise again and see if I get a different set of 10 from Manus AI. So I've just run it again and I've got a different set from Manus AI. And we've got NVIDIA Corporation, Toyota in Japan, SAP in Germany. That's a NVIDIA and SAP are repetitions of the ones we had previously. Let's just have a look. Did we have Toyota? I can't remember. I don't think so. Then we've got Shell in the UK, which is the oil company. Shopify, again, that's repetition. BHP, the mineral mining group, that's repetition. Novartis, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world from Switzerland. Tencent. Oh, that's interesting. So last time it recommended Naspers, and I mentioned Process, both of which have very large stakes in Tencent, a very fast-growing company. In this case, it's recommending Tencent itself directly. DBS Group, which is the Singapore bank, a very large bank, and ShopRite Holdings in South Africa, which it says are grocery stores. I guess it's some sort of supermarket chain. So slightly different list there. But now you've got the nearly 20 stocks that you could buy that's recommended by the artificial intelligence, all of them having passed some screen tests, all of them having their own qualities. And I think that it probably will be perfectly fine as a collection. They all look like they're large blue chips to me. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening. Thank you for watching. If you like it, I'd be very appreciative of a like and a subscribe. If you have any questions, I'll be looking at the questions at least for the next few days and trying to answer your questions. So you can write the question under the video itself, or you can drop me a note on LinkedIn and I'll be happy to reply to you on LinkedIn. Thank you very much, everybody. Goodbye.